So, namaste and welcome to this special interaction on the occasion of Narad Jayanti. Uh, every year, media fraternity celebrates this as the occasion to uh, celebrate the principles of communication and Maharshi Narad as the symbol of as the first communicator from the ancient tradition. Today, media world is undergoing tremendous changes thanks to the changing technology and the preferences of readers and viewers while consuming content. And media education also needs to respond to these changing technological transformations. So on this backdrop, today we have with us a special guest, Dr. KG Suresh, a well-known media educationist, journalist, columnist. He has been associated with media for more than three and a half decades now, and from professional media experience to media educationist, earlier as IMC Director General and now Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi University for Journalism and Mass Communication. Welcome, Dr. KG Suresh, and thank you for joining Organiser for this.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah. Let us start because people many a times, especially the journalism and mass communication students, they are curious, why Narada is associated with communication and journalism. And as a media educationist, how do you see this correlation? Why Narada is so important for the field of communication and journalism?
Well, I believe that every country should be aware and proud of its own traditions, and particularly in different disciplines. Our country, our civilization has contributed immensely. And it is imperative for us, while a lot of technology has undoubtedly come from the West, but the underlying principles of communications have always been followed in this country. We are a nation where we had for centuries followed the Shruti and Smriti traditions. From memory, from generation to generation, the oral traditions have been followed. So communication has been an integral process of our civilization. And we have seen that from generation to generation, even today's younger generation knows much about Ramayana and Mahabharata, though they may not be very much, clear about the philosophical underpinnings. But the fact is that every child in this country is familiar with Ram, Ravan, Sita, and all the characters. Because even today, whether it is Ramalila or Kathakali down south, Ramalila up north, or so many of the formats which are followed across the country, people are following it. So there is a very, very strong communication process that has been an integral part of our society for long. Now, and such a powerful, and we have had, our entire religion or culture has been in a way permeated and in a way filtered to the grassroots through a very strong communication process. So it is imperative that we understand this communication process. Because communication is not about technology.
Absolutely.
There are concepts and theories in communication. For example, a lot of the Western communication models are adversarial by nature.
Absolutely.
Whereas our communication process are looking at, one is simplification, which we call as sadharanikaran, and it is based on spontaneity. It is based on the navarasas. It is based on how the person who is listening feels totally in sync with the person who is performing on the stage.
Absolutely.
These have been the, philosophy, the communication philosophy which has been guiding us. Isn't it then important for us to understand, while accepting the technology which has come from all over the world, that what has been the communication principle which has been guiding us for centuries and which have kept us as a nation together? We have survived as a nation together, and we have prospered as a nation together, thanks to, in a big way, to that communication process. So therefore, understanding Narada is important. Narada is one character from our itihasa. I don't use the term mythology because that's a Western concept. So from our itihasa, and itihasa is not necessarily history in the Western, understanding. He is one person who, in a way, represents the essence of that communication process. He is an epitome of the qualities required to be a good and powerful communicator. He can, for example, let us make some small comparisons, because Narada is much beyond these comparisons. Let us just make some comparisons. We always say that, a journalist has to have contacts across the spectrum. Basic rule. Narada is at home with Devatas, with Devas and the Manav and the Danav.
All the three lokas.
All the three lokas. He does not discriminate between the three. And he does not fear. The word, Swami Vivekananda had famously said that the essence of Upanishad can be encapsulated in one word, that is abhaya, or fearlessness. Narada represents that fearlessness or abhaya, or nirbhaya, wherein he does not fear even the most powerful deva or the most cruel, despotic asura. He goes to them and speaks his mind. He is up and straight. And he tells that, look, you are going to be destroyed. You are going on the wrong path. He does not, sugarcoat it. Now, this is something that is generally an ideal situation for a journalist.
Right.
And then he not only does that, but he also, though unfortunately over the years, Hindi cinema particularly and Indian cinema in general has portrayed Narada as a gossip monger and portrayed him in gossiping. The fact remains that he was a great scholar whose voluminous contributions are yet to be, many of which are understood in the right perspective. The Narada Suktas, and there are so many of his work, which, so we have not been able to establish him as an authority in the way, say, we have established Charaka, Sushruta, so many concepts of medicine we have been able to establish over the years. We have been able to, similarly, Narada as a communicator. Theoretically, we have not been able to establish. That's a big challenge before us. And that for greater understanding of the texts that he has written. Remember that Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, when he, describes himself, he says that, I am Narada among the rishis. There are so many great rishis who are there, but Lord Krishna does not identify himself with any of them. He identifies himself with Narada. Okay. Now that shows the importance of Narada. Now, Narada is also, what was his motive? His motive has always been Manav Kalyan or Loka Kalyan. The welfare of the people at large. Isn't that the same motive by which journalists ought to be guided? Media ought to be guided. So that is one reason that Narada is, is somebody about whom we need to know as Indian communicators. And in fact, globally, I think it should be. We have a very strong communication tradition. We have a strong question and an answer. I've referred to some of them. We have had a long tradition. We often refer to Sanjaya in Mahabharata as the first television journalist. What about the questions and answers between Nachiketa and Yama? These are all, we have had a long tradition of questioning. Questioning is not something, this critical thinking. It's not something that has been imported from the West. We have been groomed to think critically. Our DNA is, has been made in such a way that even as we worship Lord Rama, we also question some of his acts. Even as we worship Krishna, we also question his acts. This is the essence of the questioning spirit, the curiosity, the inquisitiveness that has guided our, civilization. So that is why we need to understand Narada. I think every Indian communication student ought to understand Narada. But what is important is that we as teachers, as communication students, should also ensure that we establish him not just rhetorically, but also theoretically and conceptually. That is a big challenge before us.
Absolutely. A person who actually believed, or rather never believed in table stories and table journalism, who
ground reporting, actual ground reporting,
always believed in ground reporting and traveling from one place to another. That is another quality I always admire about Narada. But KG, you spoke about bringing conceptually and theoretically in media education or communication education. How do you see that is possible? Because media world is changing very, very fast, dynamically. Especially the technology part has transformed post-COVID. If you see the kind of patterns of communication that have changed, and you are one person who has seen from classical print journalism to television journalism to digital now, and now even possible AI based journalism. So how do you see this media world changing, and how these things can be accommodated with the eternal principles that communication theories or Narada principles stood for, his Bhakti Sutras stood for. So how they can be brought together, one, and two, in media education, how we can make certain amendments, especially in the backdrop of new national education policy that we are embarking upon. So how do you see this?
Absolutely. I think this is a very important point that you have raised. You see, sometimes when I attend these lectures, because I've been associated with so many media education institutions also, I sometimes wonder whether we are grooming technocrats or are we grooming journalists? Because so much of emphasis on technology. But then what is media without ethics?
Mm.
What is media without having sensitivity towards your fellow human beings?
Mm.
What is media without understanding the significance of your civilization? What is media without understanding your constitution? What is media? What are you doing in media without understanding your own history? How do you establish identities when your own identity is not established? These are questions that come to my mind. And I am sorry to say that a lot of superficiality and trivia has gained importance. Technology certainly is very important, and we cannot run away from technology. Technology has to be accepted. But then, who is going to moderate that technology? It is the human element. And if that human element is not trained, or if that human element is not sensitized, then what kind of output are they going to give? Is it in sync with our culture? Is it in sync with our civilizational ethos and values? Is it in sync with our national interests? This cannot be left to AI.
Absolutely.
This cannot be left to ChatGPT. The human mind, the human ingenuity has to play the role in it. And how do you develop that human ingenuity? And for that, both media houses and media schools, they have equally important role to play. That I am not going to give a job to somebody because he is a multitasker and he knows how to simultaneously do different things at a time. But for me, what is the content, what is the creativity, what is the in-depth understanding of issues that he has, that is going to decide whether he is going to get the job or not. So that is important. Without basic understanding of your own society, your own societal values, how can you go and report our society? Is it enough that you say that, I will tell you one instance. I was in Kathmandu when we had gone for the, in the aftermath of the assassination of King Birendra Veer Vikram Shahadev and his family by his own family members, his brother's son. I was there for a couple of months. I was reporting from there. A lot of Indian media faced flack. And there were Indian media go back slogans. Because a lot of young people who were assigned to cover it did not know the difference between Bhopal and Nepal. Nepali society is different.
Absolutely.
In our country, we have been portraying all the feudal lords and kings with a lot of contempt.
And they were essentially seen as anti-democratic in.
We were projected them as anti-democratic, as feudal, as exploitative. Our films have projected them like that. But there, Birendra Veer Vikram Shahadeva or the monarchs in Nepal were seen as avatars of Lord Vishnu.
Absolutely.
And you are going there, mocking at them, making fun of their traditions. Almost the entire Nepal tonsured their heads. Men.
Absolutely.
Now, without realizing that, you are reporting as if you are reporting any local landlord in India back home. So this is a lack of, so you have flown down to a country without understanding its value systems, its traditions. The same is happening in our own country. You are sending out kids to cover the most sensitive issues without any sensitization. So I have seen this happening with my own eyes. In fact, the palace issued a statement. Virtually recognized, congratulated me after 2 months of reporting there that you are the only agency. I was representing PTI at that time, which did a very balanced coverage of the, the Nepalese. The spokesman of the palace personally called up to say that. Because we studied in depth about that civilization. Yes, there is a lot of things common between us and the Nepalese people. We share the same culture, the same Sanatana values, yet geographical diversity is there. So because of that, we have moved ahead into democracy 7 decades back.
No, and the influence of the influence of colonization process is also entirely different.
Entirely different.
Nepal was always a buffer state. In that sense, it was never directly controlled by the British.
Yes. So that all mattered. So what I'm giving this example only to mention here that how important it is to understand the local situation. You will see even the transnational agencies and multinational television channels. You will have reporters in Saudi and other Islamic countries covering their head, while reporting. They don't at that time preach about being progressive and this being anti-women or this being prejudiced against women. That's not there. That sermonization is not there. You follow it.
All freedoms and choices go for toss there.
Yes. So you need to understand that every society has certain sensitivity, certain value systems which need to be respected, understood. So mere understanding of technology alone is not going to, as a communicator, as a journalist, you need to understand that. So I think that while technology is important, I think that tomorrow belongs to those who strike that delicate balance between technology and tradition. That is important, because only they will be acceptable to the people at large. Otherwise, no. Look at how the people of this country rejected Adi Purush. There was so much of criticism, even from very highly educated progressive people who found it pretty repugnant. Now technology was there in that. Everything was there.
But sensitivities were not there.
Yes. So they had to backtrack, they had to apologize.
But in the education field, how do you see this? Because that's why I brought in NEP's background here. How to sensitize and train future journalists to strike this balance between the technology and traditional sensitivities? How to have our course structures designed in such a way where they are not just fashionable in some kind of terminologies, but they are rooted in very much in those cultural traditions. So how do you see, means you have worked as IMC Director General, now as Vice Chancellor of Makanlal Chaturvedi University at Bhopal. So how do you do this while thinking about the courses and the events that you organize there? The training part also.
When I was the Director General at Indian Institute of Mass Communication, we were only teaching students Western communication models. For the first time in every course, I introduced the Indian communication model. Showed that not just theoretically, but we tried to give exposure to them by giving, organizing performances which communicated the essence of the Indian communication thought process. I still remember we had not only organized, Kathak by noted, Kathak duo Nalini Kamalni Padma Shri, but also some things like Jayadratha Vath. We staged it in the campus. Because to understand the pain, the pathos, how to communicate, I mean, all these things were so practical, exposure, exposure to our tradition, not just classroom teaching.
Mm.
You need to give our students exposure to how, I mean, you need to take them, you take them to all the places under the sun, to great studios and all that. I would say that let us take our students to a local Ramlila ground.
Mm.
Let them see the performance of Ramlila and understand how the value systems were transferred from one generation to another.
Mm.
This is important. This exposure is something that is very critical. If you are thinking, yes, back, Makhanlal had started, I would call it a pioneer in this entire study on Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. And the Sadharanikaran theory came as an outcome of a project which was sponsored by Makhanlal University and executed by a Nepalese scholar, Nirmalamani Adhikari, and today we have not only set up the Bharat Muni Shodhpeeth at our university, we have set up in our library a Devrishi Narad Gyana Khand. We have set up an IKS task force. We are trying to give, for example, what we did in the, between January 22 at the consecration of the Sri Ram temple at Ayodhya and January 26th, the Republic Day. We had a series of programs for communication students called Ramakhyan.
Oh.
And in that Ramakhyan, what we did was that we had people talking about, scholars talking about management lessons from Ramayana, communication lessons from Ramayana. These were the things that were, so of course, the students had their celebration of that huge ceremony. We showed it live on for our students and faculty on that day. But beyond that, we went to the spiritual and academic understanding of Rama and Ramayana. So we have to go in depth. We have to give them exposure. Then only they will realize that, yes, this is there. This concept is there in Hanuman Chalisa. This concept is there in Sundarkand. This is there in Manas. How do you understand unless you give them exposure?
Many times students do not understand the
given.
difference between the Valmiki Ramayana and Tulsi Ramayana.
Yes.
So, the style of communication and even the poetic essence of these two.
Even the language. Even the language.
Yeah.
The common dialect was used in Manas.
Yes.
Unlike Sanskrit. Now, that shows that communication has to be in the common man's language to make it comprehensible. So these are the ways and means by which you actually make them understand the need for sensitivity, the need to, to inculcate the, that responsibility towards society, towards your country. These are values that has to be, that while technology is great, but along with that, these values are also of eternal importance. What is a bigger responsibility? So when we see Lord Ram abandoning his kingdom to keep his father's words, this is a lesson. So maybe the student of today will not face that situation. But the lesson there is that for a larger interest, you have to sacrifice your personal goals. These are small lessons, but these are of importance, that for a small headline, I should not sensationalize a story. It could be as simple as that. But the larger picture, these scriptures give us a larger picture. which is very important. Today, we are not giving them the big picture. Today, a lot of journalists are only guided by the small picture. That today I have to break this story. I have to get a byline for it. I have to be on, even if it lasts only for a few minutes.
Or the now the easier way is to make it viral.
Yes. So 4 minutes of fame. So what if it means, using a deep fake, even if it involves the home minister of the country, even showing the prime minister, doing a Garba dance. So we can do it because it will give us hits. It will give us, but what about the long-term consequences of that?
Now, KG, tell me, specifically coming to Makhanlal Chaturvedi University now, it is one of the oldest media universities in India, perhaps the first one. And now, under your leadership, it has made strides. It is consistently coming in various rankings. So, what is that special that you have introduced for the students that this university is making, if especially because this is also the admission season and many journalists would would look for media as a field, and they sometimes get confused because now everybody is a citizen journalist, everybody is on Twitter or Facebook and consider themselves a journalist. So how would you explain them what is so special about universities like Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, and why they should go for a professional course so that they equip themselves for the future challenges?
Praful, I for one have a different take on this entire concept of citizen journalism, which is a Western concept which has been aped blindly here. You don't have citizen doctors, you don't have citizen engineers. Then how can you have citizen journalists? You can be a citizen communicator, but not a citizen journalist. Journalism is a profession which has, you have rules to follow, while playing the game. It's as simple as that. So recently there was a meeting we hosted at our university, a meeting of the Press Council of India, which felt that, and the general recommendation which came out from the deliberations they had with faculty, students, and journalists at Makhanlal was that there should be a bare minimum qualification for anybody aspiring to be a journalist, and that journalism is not about just using technology. It is about journalistic ethics. It is about understanding the laws of the land. It is about understanding the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. It is about understanding the Bharatiya Samvidhan. It is about understanding the Bharatiya culture, Bharatiya traditions. That must be there. So what we have done in our university is that we have even started part-time programs like postgraduate diploma in mobile journalism, MOJO, because mobile is hugely popular today. But a lot of people are there without any, qualification who are into it. So to give them that, apart from using mobile, what all precautions you need to take, what all, apart from boosting your income, how to establish your credentials as a journalist is part of it that we do. We, of course, organize hands-on training program for working journalists. We organized it for, including the State Press Club of Indore, we organize similar programs for anybody. We are the nodal training academy for the public relation department of the Madhya Pradesh government. But this apart, there is no dimension of media which is not covered at Makhanlal. We had a huge, we had organized perhaps one of the biggest, Chitra Sadhana festivals, Bharatiya Chitra Sadhana festivals at our campus. At that time, we also established the Department of Cinema Studies. Today, it is one of the most popular departments in the country, which offers right from diploma to PhD programs. Cinema studies, OTT, these are areas which we cover. I was the one as Director General of IIMC to establish a new media department. But Makhanlal had a new media technology department even before that. I was the one who started social media at IIMC. But Makhanlal had social media accounts even before that. So what we are now doing at Makhanlal is that national the new media technology department, we are imparting artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality. That is what we are implementing. We have a state-of-the-art television studio. We are in the process of establishing a digital studio. But at the same time, to give hands-on exposure to our students to development communication and hands-on ground reporting in Bishankhedi, which is on the outskirts of Bhopal, which is in the rural pockets of Bhopal, we have established India's latest community radio station called Radio Karamveer, which is named after the newspaper run by Pandit Makhanlal Chaturvedi. This was launched in last August. Within 5 months of its establishment, the National Fertilizers Limited has given a 10 lakh grant to create programs on agriculture for the rural, population in this area. Now, community radio is giving hands-on experience to a lot of youngsters who are actually going to the grassroots level and trying to understand the development process. This is hands-on experience that we are providing. We have, of course, all the facilities which normally you don't associate with, state government institutions. We have, even in the hostels, we have gym facilities. We have even a meditation center. We have round the clock, medical facilities available in our campus, apart from, of course, mess facilities and all that. Now, and of course, India's largest library, the Nalanda Central Library, which is the India's largest media library, which we have, set up.
And so, you have courses from short-term diploma courses up to
PhD programs, And now recently we have set up the department of, languages, Indian languages. The whole idea is that while we talked about technology, we talked about tradition, but one thing which is of a great concern in media today is the declining standards of language of journalism. Now, keeping that in mind, we are in the process of establishing a language laboratory where we will work not only on grammar, but also on articulation, on accent. These are the things that the language lab is going to work on. We are promoting language.
So now with these many multiple courses available and many new institutions, literally mushrooming, there are many online courses available. So if somebody wants to pursue journalism or media education as a serious course or career, what would you suggest for the students, for their parents? Because post 12th now they generally decide their, and new education policy is giving them a lot of flexibility, a lot of options, but sometimes it creates confusion also. So what would you suggest as an educationist and who has experience in media and journalism, hands-on experience in media and journalism?
You see,
what would you suggest? What should they look for?
We were among the first universities in the country to start to implement the national education policy. So we offer 4-year programs. And what we are doing alongside is that we are giving them a lot of options. We are not only offering them MOOCs courses, we are permitting them to do simultaneously courses from, we ourselves are offering them online courses, which they can complete and get certified. This apart from psychology to NSS to NCC, which used to be kind of hobbies, they are all now offered with credits. So we are looking at the, what Swami Vivekananda had famously described as man-making education, character building. So we have personality development courses, we have language courses, which are being offered as electives, and a student can take it. So we are looking at holistic development of the student. And we are also now on, for the first time this year, we are on Central University Entrance Test, CUET. And you are in any part of the country, you can be part of Makhanlal just by through the CUET itself. We are receiving a huge number of applications this year from across the country to our programs. Some of the programs which were, honestly speaking, were not that popular till last year. So that means across the country, there is a greater acceptance for our courses. And Makhanlal has, as you rightly pointed out, very soon our plans also include, offering online courses. That is the next phase that we are looking up to. And certainly, as I said, that we have a network of 4 campuses, 1,600 affiliated colleges, including many across India. So we have colleges in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in Delhi, in Kanpur, you name it, and we have affiliated centers there. So any student can even do it. He or she need not come to our campuses in Bhopal, Rewa, Khandwa, and Datia. They can even do it, from the associated
nearby centers or affiliated colleges.
Absolutely. In Delhi NCR also, we have a couple of them.
No, but while choosing this course, last question, while choosing a media education as a career option, what should students look for? Because generally they get, mesmerized with the advertisements or some kind of campus and campus placement. You know how it is done. So what should they look for? These are minimum checkbox that parents and students should do while taking admission for media education.
Number one is the credibility and the history of the institution. That's number one. Number two is whether it is a UGC approved program. It's a UGC approved institution, because tomorrow even your credentials can be questioned. So that has to be. Then the kind of course, because all these courses are today available on our website, on any website for that matter. So please go through the contents. Do they offer you the state-of-the-art facilities? Do they offer you the state-of-the-art, the latest technology? And what do their curriculum has to offer in terms of your interest? That is something that you have to. Placement, of course, is important. I'm not denying the importance of placement, but what is the kind of placement that are there? That is also important. And then, of course, the faculty. That is something, again, that you should look at. What is the kind of experience that you have? We have faculties who are, who are not temporary faculties who come in for a couple of months and then leave. We have permanent faculties, who are there, who are always there, who will always be there, who were there 20 years back. They are still there and they may be around for another 20 years. So the quality of the faculty is also important. The quality and consistency of the faculty is. The research publications are important. That, what are the publications of the university? We have started recently India's first peer-reviewed research journal on advertising and public relations. This is the first journal published from India on that. So that is the high level of quality that we ensure. We have our own, quarterly research journal, which is published, Media Mimamsa, which is published regularly, which is available both online and offline. So that shows the academic rigor of the university or the department. So that also has to be seen. And of course, what are the kind of programs that are organized there? The orientation programs, that how it, ensures your multifaceted development, because these are very important years where between, I would say, being a child, passing out of the 12th standard to coming out of the university as an adult, So these are very critical years. And you have to look at, the holistic development. So what are the sports facilities which are offered? The, the other cultural opportunities which are
opportunities and the various
all these things
societies that function on the campus.
So please don't go by just one or two names, big names, or just because there are some institutions which invite Amitabh Bachchan to their function, and then they sell it hard. I mean, nothing against Amitabh Bachchan, but if you are going to be a journalist, then Amitabh Bachchan has nothing to do with it. Okay, so I mean, who are actually going there? Who are the people who are in with whom you are interacting? What is the kind of exposure that you are getting? I think these things matter. You need to really do a little bit of homework before making up your mind on kind of institution you plan to join.
Thank you, KG, for speaking to us and sharing your views, starting from Narada's communication principles to the latest challenges in the media education field, and of course sharing your hands-on experience with not just as a journalist but also as in the field of media education as IMC Director General and now Vice Chancellor of one of the oldest media universities in India, that is Makhanlal Chaturvedi University. So thanks for talking to
Thank
us.
you. It was a pleasure, and I'm glad that a very prestigious media house such as yours has taken up this initiative to create awareness among the masses on media education, on the importance of our traditions, our own communication, our own knowledge system, Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, which is so critical for our growth as a nation. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. So, viewers, this was Dr. KG Suresh, who spoke to us on various aspects of media education. What we are trying to do in this series is not just introduce you some of the prominent institutions, educational institutions in India, but to get insights about what should be the approach of parents and students, because NEP is now giving a lot of options, a lot of opportunities, but these opportunities also need to be grabbed with a very sensible approach. And with this particular concern, we have started this series. We thought just Narad Jayanti is coming, so media would be the appropriate field. But now we will be moving to science and technology also. We will be talking about the language field also. So on various, admissions related opportunities, some of the professional counselors will come and speak to you. So I hope this will help you in choosing your courses more judiciously and as per the right concerns of parents that generally they raise while talking to their teachers. So thank you for watching this, and I request you to like, subscribe, and share Organiser YouTube content. Thank you, Dr. KG Suresh, for joining us in this special conversation. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, KG.
Thank you.
I think we have covered a lot of issues.
Oh yes, the entire. Whatever could be covered in this time, you have covered. So this is a new podcast you are planning.
Yes, we are doing, now, because in next 3-4 weeks, we will be doing exclusively, mainly focusing on education and admission. So various institutions, Dr. Karindakar will be coming DST, then UGC chairman will come in the last week. So every, almost every alternate day, we are having some educationists. We are having some counselors also who will be speaking on, post 10th and 12th, what should they do, how to look for various courses, what should be, how parents should assess the abilities
very
of their
I'm really
wards.
glad that you're doing it in English, because a lot of parents are looking for good content in English language from our own side.
Yes,
Generally our content, particularly on social media, is in Hindi. So, this is going to be really helpful.
No, and that is not also very quality level, means not the people who are directly involved in some administrative or decision making role. Maybe some local person, or a principal just talking about some course, it's fine. Means sometimes it helps, but I thought, it would be helpful if we are focusing on education. it helps, of course, for our various other means it helps
Maybe you can follow
growing.
it up with an education supplement for Panchajanya.
That we are
Around
planning.
admission time, around admission.
Yeah. Immediately after elections, maybe third or fourth week of June, we will be.
Yeah, that is the time a lot
planning.
of people are coming with educational.
Yes. Of course, we are not going into this ranking business because it is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
dirty.
Right now you need not, but
But we will be definitely
yeah.
coming up with
because all of them are going for that India Today, the week, and
yes.
ad nauseum.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, KG.
Thank you.